submarine hunter, submarine killer. And the jet engines were there to assist in takeoff and climb and generally shut down in flight. The aircraft, has got a very long tail, and that can't see them. There's hatches underneath the belly of the aircraft, you can't actually see them, where they can drop sonar buoys down into the ocean to try and determine what that anomaly was caused by. And if it was a submarine and an enemy submarine, they could then drop. This aircraft here is a Sea Venom. It's a jet-powered aircraft. It was based on aircraft carriers, so the wings through the hull. They were in service with the Australian Navy during the 50s and 60s. Behind me is a Caribou. Haviland of Canada built these in the 60s. Lineup, and you can see it's a 4-engine aircraft with a tricycle undercarriage, so it was a development, but it was still unpressurised. So although it was faster and could carry more cargo and passengers than the DC-3, it still had that limitation of not being able to fly above 10,000 feet. This particular one was built in 1944 and was used as a cargo plane and passenger aircraft. Qantas used these for quite a lot of years through the 50s, 60s and even through the 70s. To get a good view of it, we've got aircraft in the way, is a Convair 440. Now, after the Second World War, as I said earlier, most airlines around the world were flying DC-3s. DC-3s are slow, fly below 10,000, uncomfortable, refuelling stops. So Convair Corporation after the Second World War developed this aircraft. It was pressurised, and so therefore it could fly at about 20,000 feet, 22,000 feet. And it was much faster than a DC-3 and could also carry more passengers and more cargo. Catalina is the same vintage as the DC-3. In fact, it uses the same 14-cylinder engines. This aircraft was an amphibious aircraft, so you can see it's got a hull on it, a spoke-shaped fuselage, enabling it to land on water, and wheels to enable it to land on land. These were used during the Second World War for submarine warfare, for search and rescue, and just as the first person to fly across the Pacific from the west coast of the USA to Australia did so in 1928 in his crew. It took them 82 hours of flying over a period of about 2 weeks.
Over here we have a Tiger Moth, Australia's most produced aircraft. These are the aircraft that taught all the World War II pilots how to fly. They had 800 of them down at Temora, which is in New South Wales. After they learned to fly in that little aircraft, they went to something like this, which is called a Mustang. This is not just any Mustang. This is one produced by the Commonwealth Aircraft Corporation down in Melbourne. And if you look at the number, it's number 199. They made 200 of them. The 200th one crashed very shortly after it was produced. So this is the remaining last one that was ever produced. It's had a major restoration on it. It's airworthy and still flies. So very special. So this actually lands with a parachute. When it hits the ground, the parachute comes out and slows the aircraft down. We'll head up to the side. This is a Super Constellation. It's actually an ex-military aircraft. It's a C-121. We couldn't find an ex-Qantas one, so this was our next best thing. Still flies. It's the only one in the world that is airworthy. Back when these aircraft, because you got made of air, cables at the back of the aircraft, which is away from the noise. It's only when the modern jets came that
It was up further,
it went up
closer,
and
yeah.
swapped around. If for some reason the aircraft crashed and you had to get out, what you do is you've got a rope. And that's how you got out in those days.
Yeah.
So you go through that hole there and slide down to the ground. There was no chutes like you've got now.